Hey, what's up? This is your Cosmic Homegirl, and I'm doing a forecast for everybody from May 5th through May 12th of 2019. And just a reminder that I do have horoscopes for each sign available on my website. The link is below, or my website is indigomoonastrology.com, and it is on the horoscopes page under media. And also, don't forget, I do have a sale going on readings, on natal chart readings, which is me reading your birth chart and interpreting what it says about your personality, and also on the solar return charts. The solar return is the chart from one birthday to the next, how that solar year is going to go for you. It's actually like your real personal new year is your birthday, and there's a chart that's different every single year. So I can definitely tell you what that year is going to be like. So solar return charts and natal charts are on sale. Okay, so what's going on the week of the week of Cinco de Mayo in 2019? So there's actually a lot. It's like every day there's a really important transit going on. Well, on the actual day of May 5th, not much pop in here. Not anything major. There is an opposition that is forming, actually. There is an opposition between Mars and Jupiter. I think I may have talked about this last week. If I did, then please forgive me if I'm repeating myself. But Mars and Jupiter are opposing each other. And this is actually going to be felt pretty much like the majority of the week. But it's exact on the 5th. Yeah, so Mars is action. It's like performing actions. It's, you actually jumping up and doing things. It's your energy, your drive, like what you put your physical drive towards. That's Mars. And then Jupiter is, let's jump and fly, right? And the reason why it's in red, the degrees, the numbers for Jupiter, is because it's retrograde. So that does play a factor here. But Mars in an opposition to Jupiter, this can lead to, and then actually technically they are still within a T-square with Neptune. That means that Jupiter is squaring Neptune and Mars is squaring Neptune. So they are forming this like triangle right here. It's like, oh yeah, cute, a triangle. No. T-squares are not cute. Okay. They are energetically very frustrating to deal with. They can cause some tension, some friction that can lead to us actually feeling uncomfortable so that we actually get up and do something. However, I would say that this T-square is kind of lazy in a way. It's not the most active because Mars is the planet of action, right? It's in Gemini. And then Neptune is the planet of just chilling. It's dreams, it's sleep, like literal sleep. And it's not taking much action because you're so in your head and in a dream world, a fantasy world. And Jupiter is about celebrating, having a good time, living life to the fullest. So it can be kind of active, especially when it's in, oh my gosh, go away. When it's in the sign of Sagittarius, which is very fiery, and it's in its home sign, like Jupiter rules Sagittarius. So Jupiter's energy could be very physically active, but it can also be, oh my gosh, this is just gonna be here, sorry. It's also Jupiter's energy is also about doing the most, like doing things in excess, like celebrating and partying and stuff, and doing things that are fun, like, but overdoing things. It could be overeating, overdrinking, overspending, overdoing it, right? So anyway, the Mars and Jupiter opposition, and then, it's still making an aspect to Neptune that can lead to either sometimes being a little lost and getting off track with things. It can make us get off track with stuff and just want to hang out, just want to party. Neptune is escapism. Jupiter is escapism in a way too. It's like running off. It's in the sign of Sagittarius, the sign of I call it the runaway sign. Whenever things get too serious, Sagittarians, what are they famous for? Galloping off, right? Just think if you've ever dated a Sagittarius, that's exactly what they do, right? A lot of them do that, unless they have some other like heavier earth or water influences to anchor them down. But that's a whole other video, whole other topic. But anyhow, I digress. So Jupiter's energy in Sagittarius, it is fiery, but it doesn't really always want to deal with responsibility. So our actions could be that way. For some people, they may be tapping into the energy like that. Like, you know, they just kind of want to chill. They want to go off and do their own thing. They don't really want to be responsible for much. But for some people, especially if you are a dreamer, if you are an artiste, if you are someone who is creative in nature, this is actually not too bad of an energy to be within, because it does bring out some of your best creativity, especially if you combine action, which is Mars. So that could be dancing, martial arts, yoga, some sort of performing arts of some sort, right? Movement with creativity. Okay. And then having belief in your movements, like I can do anything, I can fly, you know, especially if you do any type of movements that are kind of daring, like tricks, power moves, you know, anything that requires you to like have a lot of faith, because you jump and you fly, and you need to have faith that you're going to land properly, right? Or that you're going to move and spin and you're going to land in like a really dope freeze, or like some sort of position that looks cool, like you planned it that way. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Anyway, you guys know what I mean. So Mars and Jupiter and in a square to Neptune still. Yeah, it can cause some trouble. Some people may not see boundaries. Some people will try to cross the line. Whew, man, I've already dealt with that. I've already dealt with that personally. Yeah, so some people may just not even care about boundaries. Jupiter doesn't see boundaries, doesn't like to see boundaries, likes to see that anything and everything is possible. Whatever you want, you can achieve, and you can just grab, you know, which can be really dope energy for very positive things. But sometimes it could be unrealistic, you know, and then Neptune can also be unrealistic. It's, oh, I dream about this, and you know, it's fantasy too. Oh, this would be so great, but it's like all up in your head, and you're not always willing to take the actions to make the fantasy real, make it reality. So, yeah, this configuration, it does continue during this week. I mean, Mars does progress, you know, and does move a few degrees this week, but it's still technically going to be opposing Jupiter. Okay, so this can be having lots of faith and belief in your actions, which once again, hey, there's nothing wrong with that. You can go for those big goals. You can just jump after them, like whatever or whoever you want, but don't forget about consequences. Be aware that things may not work out in your favor in the way that you envisioned or imagined them to work out. You need to be aware of both sides, you know, so that way you don't set yourself up for disappointment. And sometimes this could be promising more than you can deliver. Anything to do with Jupiter in a very challenging aspect can definitely be that. You believe that you can just do so much, right? And put forth all this action towards doing so much. But hey, maybe you do that and then you burn yourself out, and then you can't even deliver everything that you've promised, but you're just so excited. You know, Jupiter and Sagittarius are the energies of I'm so excited. Listen, if you hear anybody always say how excited they are, you know that they have a very strong Sagittarius or Jupiter presence within their natal chart, or maybe like some planets in their ninth house or something. Okay, something that's Sag-esque. The person will always say, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. You know who I noticed? I watch, sometimes I watch her videos. Trisha Paytas. Trisha Paytas is a big time YouTuber. And she has, I think her moon is in the ninth house in her chart. And I think she has like some Jupiter, something very strong Jupiter in her chart too. Maybe Sun conjunct Jupiter, or she's, yeah, and I think her moon is in the ninth house. I don't know, something very Jupiterian in her chart. And she always says like, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. On some of her vlogs, I noticed that. So anyway, yeah, that's what this is. So your actions, you could be very excited about certain actions and want to jump towards them. And I'm not saying that just because this is a challenging aspect that none of them will work out for you. Once again, I'm just saying be aware of the consequences if, the way that you envision things doesn't go that way. Like if things don't go that way, if things go the opposite way, you have high expectations with Jupiter, expectations in yourself, expectations within others. So just make sure you don't put them too high. And hey, it's cool if you jump after whatever or whomever you want, Okay. And then on the 6th, this is when we have Mercury moving into Taurus. Yeah, so we're on the 6th. Mercury moves into Taurus, moves out of angry Aries. Oh my gosh, you guys. Like Mercury in Aries, it's good for speaking out and speaking up. You know what I mean? It's really good for that. It's really good for what else? Like Mercury in Aries, for just getting boldly and directly straight to the point. Okay, that's Mercury in Aries. That's what it was about. But some people could kind of like speak before they think and just be a little too forward, a little too blunt, too loud, typing in all caps. I think I warned you guys about this when the shift into that sign happened. But yeah, it's still, every sign has its good and bad, right? But Mercury being in Aries, yeah, it had its good parts, you know what I mean? But yeah, now Mercury shifts into Taurus. It shifts into Taurus for only like 2 weeks, right? So up until the 21st of May, right? It's only like a very short period of time we get to enjoy Mercury and Taurus. So Mercury and Taurus, Mercury is our communication. It is how we talk, how we type, how we text, how we email, how we DM and slide up in the DMs and all that stuff. That's Mercury. And it's in the sign of Taurus, which is much more calm, more serene. Taurus, the sign of Taurus is ruled by Venus. Venus is about balance, peace, and harmony. Okay, so the way in which we speak, we may be influenced in that way a little bit more. Balance, peace, and harmony, right? So the communication goes from being rah 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 rah, a little bit more rah rah, to being more like, hey, like much more slower, more smooth, So first of all, like that's how Mercury in Taurus performs normally, right? Normally. But look at here. Mercury's next to the planet of not normal. Of the planet Uranus in Taurus, and Uranus's energy is very wacky. It's out there, it's outlandish, it's eccentric, it's weird, it's it's buzzing energy. Like it does rule electricity, so it's like buzzing with ideas and just like quick sporadic movements and thoughts and stuff. So Mercury conjunct Uranus, this is an influence we're going to be under the whole entire week. However, on the 8th is when it's exact, but I'll get to that in date order. But I'm just letting you know, Mercury moves into Taurus on the 6th. It is in contact with Uranus, and it will be for the first like week or so. And so the smoothness of Taurus Mercury is not going to be so strongly felt. Like there could be some ups and downs, but I'll get to that in a second. Okay, so on the 7th, this is when Venus comes into a square with Saturn. Where's she at? Where's Miss Venus? Here she is. Okay, so I would say, and remember, I'm on Pacific West Coast time. Sorry, I'm on the West Coast, not the East. So yeah, I would say like real early in the morning, West Coast time in the US on the 7th. Or yeah, like, so the morning in the US and maybe like the afternoon, early evening, or evening in the East. Anyway, Venus comes into an exact square with Saturn on the 7th of May. Okay, so what does this mean? This means that Venus rules beauty, love, money, vanity, our appearance, how we feel about ourselves, like self-esteem, self-worth can kind of tie into Venus. Venus is also what we enjoy and how we spend our money, what we spend our money on, how we express our love can be shown through Venus. She's one of those factors in that. So, what happens when she's in a square to Saturn? Dun dun dun. Okay. So, a square is a challenging aspect once again. And so she's being challenged by Saturn. What does this mean? Venus in Aries, she's bold and impulsive. She wants to just strike her prey down. She wants to just go after whatever it is that she wants, whatever she desires, right? So when she is challenged by Saturn, Saturn is up here in grumpy grandpa Capricorn. And Saturn is grumpy grandpa himself. So he's like double when he's in his home sign of Capricorn, right? So Saturn is a planet of just saying, no, hold up. Wait a second. Where do you think you're going, young lady, Miss Venus? And Venus is running when she's in Aries. She is running towards whatever she wants, right? But Saturn is like a stop sign. Where do you think you're going? Clear eyes, dry eyes voice, right? Where are you going, young lady? You know there's rules to follow. You really can't pass through here without this, and this, right? So Saturn checks little Venus. Yeah, he does. He asks her what she's doing, where she's going, and why. And she really just wants to push past him and say, whatever, I do what I want. But then she can get into some major trouble if she does that, right? So what does this mean in the real world? Well, it means that there can be a halt to certain things involving love, money, things that we enjoy, enjoyment. Because Saturn can kind of put a damper on things. He could be like a little party pooper in a way. But what this challenging aspect can do for us, there may be some things that are put to a stop or a hold, to ask some serious questions when it comes to money or relationships. So it may ask you questions like, what do you really want out of relationships? Do you want something solid and stable, or do you know what I'm saying? Like Saturn is like a paternal energy that can teach very hard lessons. So some of us may have some lessons in love pop up, but what could be good about this is like the realization of the fact that certain love situations have a lesson within them. For some people, this can mean that they want to solidify something. They want something long term. Maybe they are realizing that they want something that's more solid, more long term, not fly by night, because Saturn is about longevity. It's about preserving things the way that they are and the way that they should be, and making sure they run that way for a long time. So even though this is a square, which is a challenge, that's what some people could be looking at and making, taking the proper steps and actions towards solidifying something with their love, relationships, or whatever. For some people, this is a hard reality check, a harsh reality check about something. I've already had a couple conversations with a few friends about love and relationships to where they are actually going through this. They're learning they're having some hard reality checks about love and relationships, and it sucks, but it's a part of life, good thing we have astrology though, in order to show us like divine timing of things and why they're happening and that they're supposed to be happening right now. And most importantly, this is only right now. The planets keep moving, they shift, so life keeps moving. So anyway, Venus square Saturn, money. This could be a reality check with money, some financial situation. Saturn is the government, it's authority, it's, agencies. So some people may be receiving like letters from agencies about something to do with money that they owe around this time. And remember, this is exact on the 7th, but even like a few days before, a few days after, we could still feel this influence of Saturn and Venus square. So it can make some people feel very down about love or down about money, because Saturn can put fear and doubt within us a lot of times, because it is the energy of, well, you should have done this. Well, this isn't good enough. You can always do better. This isn't good enough. You can always do better. You know, like repeatedly telling you that in your head. Saturn transits that are pretty heavy can cause that. And it can make some of us, like, where we should be making a major move with love or money, we feel stunted, we feel stifled, we feel held back, when, you know, and it's by our own fears and doubts, like, oh my gosh, what if this and what if that, when really the action taken, maybe it doesn't have like some evil mean consequence waiting behind the door. Maybe it has something good for us. But we let all this fear and stuff take over. So that's a possibility here. This can affect us all in different ways. It depends on, you know, your own natal chart, of course. But as a collective, yeah, I've noticed that some of us are going through some of those things. And it can be tough, but hey, like I said, this too shall pass, and astrology definitely shows that. So on the 8th, this is when Mercury is in its conjunction to Uranus. Here we go. You see, Mercury's here at 3 degrees Taurus, and so is Uranus, 3 degrees of Taurus. So let's say like in the morning, in the US, and then like probably the evening, early evening or next day or something like that in the eastern part of the world. Mercury conjunct Uranus. What does this do? What does this mean? So once again, Mercury is how we talk and what we're thinking about, and Uranus is sudden insight into things. It's flashes, it's out of the blue, out of nowhere, something just like zaps and pops up. So with that happening and this Mercury ruling the mind, a lot of us, this is a day where a lot of people can come up with really great, like, genius ideas out of the blue, just within a flash. You know what I'm saying? This is a good transit for if you work in in the industries of technology or IT, or also maybe social media and marketing and networking and anything to do with the internet, even like building websites or whatever, building like your own page or someone else's pages, whatever, anything to do with technology and art, because Venus rules Taurus. And maybe even the voice, like some people may be starting podcasts on this day because Mercury is your communication, you know, and then Uranus is broadcasting. It is broadcasting on the airwaves, whether the airwaves are through radio, through the internet, through television, through satellite, whatever. It's those invisible waves. Uranus rules all of that. So some people may be like, I think I might just start a podcast on that day, right? But for the rest of us, yeah, it's it's a day to where you may notice people speaking in ways that are a little more goofy. I'm already feeling this. I am a Mercury and Taurus person already by birth, and Uranus is definitely lighting up all my Taurus, starting to light up on my Taurus stuff. And yeah, Mercury in the mix too. This is definitely bringing out the Uranian speech, which is a little more out there. But I'm loving it. I absolutely love it. I love Uranian energy for that reason. I don't like some of the surprises that he brings, and when he laughs at my face when I say, oh, I plan to do this, I plan to do that, and then he says, oh, a plan? Watch this. Throws a lightning bolt, bam, hits my world, where I'm like, oh my gosh, now this sudden weird thing is happening to destroy my plan. I don't really dig Uranus for that, but for bringing out more authenticity within people, bringing out their true selves, bringing out their true nature, bringing out their weird side, bringing out the eccentric, odd, different, like all of that stuff, you know, the rebelliousness in people. Yeah, I really love Uranus for that. So people will be speaking in a manner which is more that. What else with Mercury and Uranus? I would say to be careful driving, especially on the 8th. Be careful driving, be cautious, because Uranus is things that are sudden and unexpected that could just pop up and happen, right? And Mercury is driving. So you can have suddenly, I don't know, like out of nowhere, there's like a fender bender or something. You didn't expect it. Mercury and Uranus, Uranus does rule technology and electricity, and Mercury is communication and the devices we use to communicate, especially ones that are handheld, right? Or that we use our hands for to communicate. So some people may experience weird electronic, electrical, technological setbacks, issues during that time. Maybe like your phone will start glitching out. If you have an iPad or like a tablet or like a smartwatch or something, maybe it'll like start acting weird. Texting may be a little weird, like texting and typing on your phone or whatever. It can get a little weird and like jumbled and stuff. Yeah, just technology may do some weird wacky things when Uranus and Mercury meet. So this is on the 8th that this happens. Yeah, just be prepared for people. Oh, and some people may receive sudden out of the blue communications with people, because remember, flashes of insight, flashes of thoughts. So some people may be like, you know what? I haven't talked to so and so in a long time. Let me hit them up. Actually, Mercury moved into Taurus the day that I'm recording this, and I did get a sudden out of the blue contact from a friend that I hadn't talked to. I don't even know when's the last time I talked to her. I think it was maybe like a year ago, maybe two. I don't even know. But we're like weird friends like that. I have some friends where we're just kind of, we don't really talk every day and or week or month, maybe even not for like a year or so. But every time we talk or get together, it's like nothing has changed. No time has passed, So you may receive some communications out of the blue from people where you're like, whoa, this isn't Mercury retrograde, but it can kind of act a little bit similar sometimes, Mercury and Uranus. Okay, so that's on the 8th. Then on the 9th, this is when we have Venus in a square aspect to Pluto. So Venus, she moves up to 23 degrees of the sign of Aries. And then Pluto is at 23 degrees of Capricorn. So they square each other here on the zodiac wheel. They send a challenging aspect to one another. What does this mean for us? Well, Venus, once again, she's love, money, beauty, enjoyment, our material world. And then Pluto is the Lord of the underworld. Look at the symbol for Pluto. Have you guys noticed? And I'm having a video idea about this for like years. Have you guys noticed that the symbol for Pluto looks like a villain? You know how a lot of times they'll have villains, especially like the Disney villain, the female villains. This is the head, right? This is like, they wear like a collar, that makes them look more evil. I've noticed that. And so when you think of Pluto, I guess you could think of that type of a vibe. It could be about evil a little bit, and be very dark and brooding and trying to control the world, but from underground. I don't know. Pluto can kind of act like that. But Pluto is the planet of really diving deep. It's a planet of transformation. It's a planet of hidden information too, like seeking to uncover hidden information. So Pluto is about purging things out. It's about life or death, like things have to die in order to be reborn, or the soul, like having a very strong like soul obsessive connection with somebody to where you just cannot stop thinking about them. That's Pluto. Anyway, so Venus square Pluto. This is Venus being challenged by Pluto. So what can this bring to us as a collective? Well, for some people, when it comes to love and relationships, maybe they could become a little more obsessive. Maybe they can become a little more stalkerish because they want to reveal hidden information about somebody and start to search for them and, look them up and all that. And like kind of creep on them like a whole lot. Oh my gosh, hopefully not. But this can just mean also, yeah, you're curious about something that seems to be a secret or hidden, and maybe some things like that can be revealed to some people on the 9th. Yeah, secrets are revealed. Maybe it can be with love or money that the secrets come out. Venus and Pluto square. Yeah, it can challenge some people to where they do feel, a little more like possessive, a little more obsessive, a little more jealous. Yeah, Venus square Pluto can bring out that jealousy. I am not playing about that. Okay, it really can. Some people have this in their natal charts. People have this in their synastry between them and another person, and it can cause people to be like, who is that? Who's that on your phone? You're lying. As soon as you go to sleep or get in the shower, I'm searching through that phone. Yes, I am. Or people can be like wanting to follow people, like, let me make sure you're going where you said you're gonna go. Those type of behaviors can come out with the Venus square Pluto. That's a challenge with it. But maybe it can be challenging us to kind of like purge out something that has to do with love or money, or our ways with, excuse me, our ways with love or money, how we handle love or money. Maybe there's something that really has to die away in order to transform and be reborn again within us, with any of those issues, you know. So maybe it's like a way that you've been making money. Maybe it's like, yo, I realized it has to die away. Like it has to be something I let go of in order to welcome in new ways of making money. Or relationships. Maybe there's like, you had a very soulful connection with somebody, maybe even a little obsession, or, you know, felt possessive over them or something. Like you just had something intense with somebody and you just gotta let it go. And maybe you can transform and, you know, as a result of it. There's just a few different combinations that can apply with Venus square Pluto. It does have its challenges, but hey, through those challenges, you can like seriously be almost like you're born again with whatever Venus rules. So then on the 11th, this is when we have the Sun in Taurus making a trine aspect to Saturn in Capricorn. Okay, so Sun trine Saturn. This is an energy that is very grounding, and we need that. We need that, especially with Mars and Jupiter over here, you know, opposing each other, causing some people to jump and fly without even looking to see if it was safe for them to jump and fly, you know, not even checking to see if they got that parachute on. This is very grounding energy. Sun is also masculine, male energy. It doesn't necessarily mean like male genitalia. It means masculine energy is taking action, being action oriented, initiating things. So we have, you know, one of those planets lost over here wanting to just jump after stuff. And then we have the other one that's over here making a good aspect to Saturn, which is like it's having a good conversation with Saturn, even though the ruling planet of Taurus is Venus, and Venus is still squaring Saturn. So there is kind of like a double Saturnian influence here, when it comes to Venusian things in a way, but also like the Sun is like a conscious expression of ourselves, and you know, it is consciousness, I guess, in a way. So yeah, it's kind of being aspected very well by Saturn, which means it's working together with Saturn to solidify some things, to look at the long term, to carry out long-term plans, you know, like Sun trine Saturn. It can be a good day for you to sit down and get some work done, because Saturn is the planet of sit your down. Okay, that's what Saturn says. Just like a mean father figure that doesn't want you to just bounce around and jump around like a big old kid and play. No, you can't do that when Saturn's around. It's all about that hard work. So if you have tasks to complete that really require a lot of your attention and focus, yes, Sun trine Saturn is a beautiful day to tap in and just do just that. Sun trine Saturn, yeah, it's a good day for hard work, and also to just ask yourself those Saturnian questions, like where are we going and what are we doing with our lives and our finances and yada yada yada. It depends on where these two earth signs are at in your natal chart, of course, with how it affects you directly. But yeah, that's the influence that we're under. So pretty interesting week we have here, guys. Yeah, pretty interesting week. Lots of activity with Mercury and Venus. So yeah, I hope everybody survives it okay. I'm sure you will. It's really not that bad. And thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, if you want to know how some of these transits affect you based on your sign, the rising sign, if you know your birth time, your sun sign even, or even your moon sign, for a more emotional perspective on things, hit the link that is below to the horoscopes page on my website, and you can order one of those. And don't forget about natal charts and solar return charts are on sale through only the 21st of May, only for Taurus season, for the sun in Taurus. Okay, so take care, you guys, and I will see you in my next video. All right, peace.